I think it's very important to realize across Minnesota, anywhere where there's still grass, that folks are actually holding on to a gem. Less than 1% of the prairie is left in Minnesota, and people don't realize how rare native prairie is. When you can sit there and tell somebody you have less than 1% of what's left across the state, inherently it gives prairie a little bit more value. People seem to take a little more interest in that.
Right now we're at sitting in the Lac Pearl Wildlife Refuge headquarters, and the area I'm responsible for managing is a 33,000 acre Lac Pearl Wildlife Management area.
We've got a tri-state chapter, which comprises of Minnesota, South Dakota, and North Dakota. And now with the Chippewa Prairie and the Lac Pearl WMA together, that's a really big block of prairie that gets managed very well. DNR and TNC works hand in hand. There's really not a fence going through the middle. It's a great relationship that we've got going on out there. You know, some of the challenges, I guess I would say, would be it's two different agencies trying to work together, and everybody has their own set of rules and their own set of guidelines. And what we've done is somewhat groundbreaking on this Chippewa Prairie project, working together, because we're trying to mend two different sets of rules into one and be successful.
The reason we have native prairie here at Lac Pearl is because as the glacier cut through, the glacial river Warren dumped out thousands of boulders on the landscape, and it was too rocky to farm. So that stayed at either hay land or as grazing lands. And our goal here is kind of manage for a functional prairie pothole landscape. Our prescribed fire season, and in Minnesota I think it's true for most prairie managers, it's pretty much a spring burn season. And we're primarily set up going after our two cool season exotic species, Kentucky bluegrass and smooth brome primarily. And they'll start growing in the cool times of the years, April and May, and that's really where we target our burn season. So we want to set back those species, burn their above ground litter mass, set those species back, warm up the soil, put the nutrients cycle back into place, and favor our warm season native grasses.
Fire in this landscape, it can be touchy, it can be tricky because it's such a large area of contiguous grass. So when you're working together and there's two landowners involved, we join forces. We don't ever burn without the other person there, DNR, TNC. We usually have ample resources because we're combining our resources, and it really works out really well.
We have lots of tree and brush invasion on our wildlife area. In the 1930s, this area was absolutely treeless. We're in the heart of the tallgrass prairie here in Minnesota, and it amazes me how much woody cover pressure we have today. And a lot of those trees that we were really battling came over from Europe as well, Siberian elm and Russian owl being two primary ones that we really fight a battle with. The way we use fire here is the top kill our woody cover. It keeps it in that short successional stage. It keeps it from getting into where you got to go out there with heavy equipment. I look at woody cover as probably being the biggest threat that we have to our prairies, along with the cool season grasses. We're working on a big patch burn grazing project where we are taking that two forces, fire and grazing animals, and we're bringing them together. And I'm really excited about that, the fire and grazing interaction.
With the Chippewa Prairie project, we've been very clear on our objectives, and everything we do is moving and working towards our management objectives. There's a lot of science behind what we're trying to do and accomplish.
It really comes down to, and to me, is management of those lands. Development is exciting. I love going out and buying new tracts of land, restoring prairies, but really it's the management of those lands long term in the end that are going to really make the difference on your plant community and your wildlife that you're going to have go in the future.